Important current affairs. India delivers humanitarian aid to Caribbean nations which are hit by Hurricane Melissa. India reaffirming its solidarity with its Global South partners, dispatched 20 tons of humanitarian assistance and disaster relief to Jamaica and Cuba to support recovery efforts in the wake of Hurricane Melissa. Taking X, that is Twitter, External Affairs Minister Jaishankar said, dispatched 20 tons of each of HADR, humanitarian assistance and disaster relief materials for Jamaica and Cuba in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. Indian Air Force flight carrying aid including 𝐃𝐨𝐰𝐧𝐥𝐨𝐚𝐝 cubes, rehabilitation support items, food and daily utilities, medicines, medical equipment, power generators, shelter support, and hygiene kits has dispatched from New Delhi on November 5th. India stands with the Global South partners in the face of such natural disasters and will assist our friends in recovery and reconstruction. Hurricane Melissa, one of the strongest Atlantic storms on record, caused widespread devastation across Caribbean, leaving dozens dead and communities cut off. Hurricane Melissa struck Jamaica on October 28th as a Category 5 hurricane, the strongest storm in the history of Jamaica. The hurricane caused severe damage to infrastructure, downed power lines, and left most of the country without electricity. Hurricane Melissa, how it affected the Caribbean islands. Next important news that is coming up, Typhoon 𝐾𝐨𝐼𝐧𝐥𝐨𝐚𝐝 leaves 114 dead, 127 missing in Philippines province. Philippine officials on November 5th said the death toll from the widespread flooding and devastation caused by Typhoon 𝐾𝐾𝐨𝐽 in the country's central region has risen to at least 114. 𝐾𝐾𝐨𝐽 is one of the disastrous typhoon that affected Philippines. Next important news that is coming up, India to host International Conference on Green Hydrogen on November 11th and November 12th at New Delhi. The Ministry of New and Renewable Energy will host the International Conference on Green Hydrogen on November 11th and November 12th at Bharat Mandapam at New Delhi. The event aims to bring together global stakeholders to discuss strategies for scaling up of green hydrogen production, developing infrastructure, and building demand under India's National Green Hydrogen Mission. So you are expected to study, to revise India's National Green Hydrogen Mission again. American President Donald Trump's administration has revoked around 80,000 non-immigration visas since its inauguration on January 20th for offenses ranging from driving under the influence to assault and theft. So from small offenses to big offenses, almost Donald Trump office administration have revoked around 80,000 visas since January 20th. The extent of the revocations, first reported by Washington Examiner, reflects a broad immigration crackdown initiated when Trump came into office, deporting an unprecedented number of migrants, including some who held valid visas also. Next important news that is coming up, Bihar Assembly polls, phase 1 is going to start today. The first phase will decide fate of 1,314 candidates across 18 districts in Bihar. So, in the first phase, 121 assembly seats heading for the polls. According to the Election Commission, in the first phase, 3.75 crores voters are voting, and if you see in the first phase, more than 10 lakh are new voters. So, this is a trend that is coming up from Bihar. Next important news, very important news that is trending, New York gets its first mayor-elect of South Asian origin. Zohran Mamdani made history by becoming the New York City's first Muslim and South Asian origin mayor-elect, and its youngest since 1917. And Zohran Mamdani is a Democrat, and in fact, Zohran Mamdani has an Indian origin. His mother, her name is Meera Nair. She is from India and filmmaker also. She is a famous filmmaker from India. Coming back, his father belongs to Uganda. And Zohran Mamdani went with a different style of campaigning this time. Generally, in America, Democrats go with identity politics and other things, but Zohran Mamdani went with economic reforms with respect to cost of living, bus fares, with respect to other support system in the New York City, and people voted for him. In fact, the cities like New York, Los Angeles, all these cities are topmost cities in the world because of this mayoral system. Unlike in India, where we have weak mayoral system, in America they have strong mayoral system where mayor is very, very powerful. For example, president is very, very powerful in the country. In the same way, in America, mayor is very powerful in the city. But in India, the extensive executive powers are with the bureaucrats. In America, mayoral position is very, very strong and political, and mayor's election is very, very important. And most importantly, mayor have extensive executive powers in America, and the New York mayor have funding of around, for the New York City, $100 billion. He has at his disposal $100 billion of funding. So you may get a question, compare and contrast Indian mayoral system and American mayoral system. In India, mayor election is optional. That is, direct election is optional, whereas in America, direct election of mayor is compulsory. So in India, mayor can be elected directly or indirectly. In India, mayor is a ceremonial head. In America, mayor is a real executive person there who is like CEO of the city. He's like CEO of the city. And in India, if you see, the extensive executive powers are with the IAS officers who are municipal commissioners. But whereas in America, it is mayoral post is completely political post, where in order to get succeeded in the next election, the mayor has to perform. So there's a very big thing about mayor. You might get the question, compare and contrast Indian mayor and American mayor in panchayats and municipalities. And I can tell you, in GS Polity and Political Science IGP, this question is very important. Coming back, Rahul Gandhi alleges vote theft took place in Haryana with Election Commission help. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi made another major allegation of vote theft, saying 25 lakh fake voters were added to the electoral rolls of Haryana ahead of assembly elections in the state in 2024, which the Bharatiya Janata Party won the elections. Addressing his press conference under the vote chori, Mr. Gandhi, who is also the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, said that he shared the voters list of Rai Assembly Constituency of Haryana, which had the photograph of Brazilian model 22 times under different names across the booths. This is a big thing. It's a big thing that is coming up. And the other important news, as you all know, COP30 summit is going to be held at Brazil from November 10th to November 21st. This COP30 summit is going to be the very important summit, and today's Hindu paper editorial page, the lead article was written by Brazil President Lula da Silva. This lead article today in Hindu on COP30 was written by Brazilian President himself, Lula da Silva. You are expected to read this article. Whenever a head of the nation writes an article in our nation newspaper, I think this is fantastic. And almost in all the national newspapers, similar articles will carry written by the President of Brazil. I wish to speak on that for a few minutes. What did the Brazilian President Lula da Silva wrote in Hindu today? Today, in the Brazilian Amazon, the Belém summit opens ahead of 30th UN Conference of Parties, COP, that is UN Climate Change Conference, COP30. World leaders convene here in the days leading up to the COP, that is Conference of Parties, so that we can all commit to acting with the urgency that the climate crisis demands. If we fail to move beyond speeches into real action, our societies will lose faith not only in COPs, but also in multilateralism and international politics more broadly. That is why I have summoned leaders to the Amazon to make this COP of truth the moment we demonstrate the seriousness of our shared commitment to the planet. Humanity has shown its ability to overcome great challenges where it acts together and guided by science. We protected the ozone layer. The global response to the COVID-19 pandemic proved that world can act decisively when there is a courage and political will. Brazil hosted the Earth Summit in 1992, that is Rio de Janeiro, also called as United Nations Conference on Environment and Development. We approved the Conventions on Climate Change, Biodiversity and Combating Desertification. In 1992, UNFCCC was approved, UN Convention on Biodiversity was approved, UN Convention to Combat Desertification was approved in the year 1992 Rio Summit, and adopted principles that defined a new paradigm for preserving our planet and our humanity. Over the past 33 years, These gatherings have produced important agreements and targets for reducing greenhouse gas emissions, from ending deforestation by 2030 to tripling renewable energy use. More than 3 decades later, the world have returned to Brazil to confront the climate change. It is no coincidence that COP30 takes place in the heart of Amazon rainforest. This is an opportunity for politicians, diplomats, scientists, activists, and journalists to witness the reality of Amazon. He wanted to also reflect the realities in Amazon. The article itself carries a lot of facts and other things. I expect all of you, particularly, he is emphasizing on TFFF, Tropical Forest Forever Facility. He is emphasizing on a concept called TFFF. Lula de Silva is emphasizing on the concept called TFFF, Tropical Forest Forever Facility. You are expected to read more on that. So, in Belem, we will launch an innovative initiative to preserve the forests. The Tropical Forest Forever Facility. It is innovative because it operates as an investment fund, not on donation mechanism. The Tropical Forest Forever Facility, TFFF, will reward those who keep their forests standing and those who invest in the fund. A genuine win-win approach to tackle climate change. So, he's promoting TFFF, and he's also speaking about NDCs, nationally determined contributions. How every nation is supporting by contributing something for good of the environment. So, he spoke at length about these things. You just carry this article, read this article many times. Coming back, today Hindu paper gave a very big editorial on road accidents. Road accidents are not resulting in an overhaul of infrastructure and licensing. The highway accident on November 3rd that claimed 19 lives at Chevella near Hyderabad was far too routine to change India's disgraceful record in fatal road accidents. The driver of a gravel-laden truck apparently swerved to avoid a pothole and rammed into a bus. There were no dividers, no streetlights, no signals, and on the stretch of National Highway 163. India's roads are a major public hazard. Pedestrians, that is those who walk on the road, pedestrians, bus riders, and two-wheeler motorists constitute the majority of the over 400 people who died in India's road on average every day, the equivalent to a full transcontinental flight going down. Flight disasters invite scrutiny, multi-agency probes, and quick remedial measures. But road accident deaths that mostly involve poorer folk trigger, and they have very less probes, and rules are not changing even after the accidents. If any government document identifies human error as the most common cause of reasons, whether vehicular and infrastructural, these reasons are completely unaddressed. This is the story. You are expected to read. Almost per annum, more than 150,000 people in India are dying with road accidents, are dying in road accidents. But unfortunately, the steps are not being properly taken to protect the lives of the people. So, Chevella's road accident, kindly make a answer on road accidents.